Hello, and welcome to another episode of Podcast DX, the show that brings you interviews with people just like you, whose lives were forever changed by a medical diagnosis. I'm Lita.
I'm Jean Marie.
Where did that come from?
Oh,
And I'm out.
You could leave that in, Jack.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
And I'm Ron.
Today, we're continuing our Medicine in Transition series with a topic that's central to everything we do here. We're talking about the shift in medicine from focusing only on survival or critical cases to prioritizing quality of life, and why that change matters so deeply for patients, families, and providers.
For decades, medical success was measured pretty simply. Did the patient live or not? Did the treatment work? Did the numbers improve?
Right. Outcomes were survival rates, lab values, scans, and discharge dates.
And those things do absolutely matter. Saving lives does matter. But the system rarely asked what life looked like after survival.
Yes, you could survive a stroke, cancer, surgery, or major illness and still lose independence, mobility, identity, or joy. And medicine would still call it a success.
Right. That model started cracking when more people began surviving serious illnesses.
Exactly. Advances in medicine kept people alive, but often with long-term consequences.
Right. Cancer survivorship would be a great example. People are living longer now, but they may be dealing with the chronic pain, the fatigue, the different cognitive changes that occur, and especially the emotional trauma for years. The same is true for heart disease, autoimmune conditions, neurological disorders, and complex surgeries. Survival became the beginning of the story, not the end.
Chronic illnesses really forced medicine to rethink outcomes.
Because there's no, quote, cure and discharge moment, people live with diseases for decades now.
And when care is ongoing, quality of life becomes impossible to ignore. So patients started asking, can I work? Can I think clearly? Can I move without pain? Can I live independently? Can I enjoy my life? And these questions couldn't be answered by lab values alone.
Quality of life sounds subjective, and it is, but it's also something that needs to be taken into account because it's a real thing. It also has a real effect on your health.
Right. It includes your physical comfort, your mobility, of course, your mental health, your cognition, your sleep, energy, social connection, and, well, your purpose, actually.
Yeah. And the most important part is quality of life is personal. For one person, it's walking independently. For another one, it might be just staying in their own home. Another person might say it's being pain-free. And another one, it might just be its dignity or maybe even mental clarity. Medicine had to learn that outcomes must be defined with the patients, not for the patients.
So my question would be, what the hell took it so long for medicine to focus on quality of life rather than just, did they live or not?
Well, I think in one regard, it's because it's something that it is subjective. So it's very hard or it can be difficult to have a qualitative measure of it.
Right. You can't draw blood to measure dignity. You can't scan joy or independence. Quality of life requires conversation, listening, and time, and the system hasn't always valued those. It also requires letting go of the idea that longer is always better.
One of the biggest drivers in this is the shift that's been taking place where patients are advocating for themselves. So they speak up and, it's a two-way conversation with healthcare providers.
Yep.
I think where you're going with that is I think, patients, they started declining treatments that may have extended their life, but it destroyed their ability to live meaningfully.
Right. So like if you're you know that your um your lifespan may be cut short because of a disease, and an aggressive treatment might extend it by a month or two, but it means that you're spending a year with this aggressive treatment that makes your quality of life or lowers your perceived quality of life would be. You have to have a really open, honest, and frank conversation with your healthcare provider to say, if I have this limited amount of time, I want it to be quality time, and how can I optimize that?
Right.
So for example, if you're receiving chemotherapy and, there's lots of things that can be done to make that more comfortable, to reduce the side effects, and that all needs to be taken into consideration.
Right. Yeah. What I was gonna say is, it can extend your existence,
Mhm.
but if that quality of life isn't there to that person, how much does that really matter?
Mhm.
Right, right. Uh, if people feel, I don't want more time if I can't recognize my family,
Right.
well, then you should listen to that. I mean, it's the patient that has to have the input into their treatment plan. Or I don't want more treatment if I'm in constant pain. I want to be comfortable and I want to be at home.
Mhm.
Those are voices that have changed medicine because at least some physicians have listened.
Right. And that's exactly why I said what I did. You may be quote unquote living longer existing, but, again, not to overuse that term, quality of life, but do you really have a quality of life?
Yeah.
And then that's where I think the whole shared decision making process comes in, where you're actually talking with the doctor and the doctor's listening to you and wanting what's best for you from your perspective.
Hmm.
Right. And instead of just the healthcare provider making a unilateral decision, it's more of a collaborative effort at this point.
Right. The clinicians, they bring the medical expertise, and the patients bring their values, their goals, their fears, and
Mhm.
their lived experience. Neither one works without the other. And that's a fundamental shift from paternalism to partnership.
Right. And there are areas where quality of life has become central.
Exactly, such as in a chronic illness, disability, dementia, cancer care, mental health, the effects of aging, and also end of life care.
In those spaces, aggressive treatment doesn't always improve outcomes. Sometimes comfort,
Hmm.
function, connection, or peace is the better goal. Medicine had to learn that doing more isn't always doing better. And I think that's because of the chronic
Hmm.
condition
That's
that
exactly right.
we're living longer with chronic.
And this shift brought rehabilitation disciplines into the spotlight.
Oh, which
Right. So
ones?
physical, occupational, and even recreational therapy, bibliotherapy, cinetherapy, using all different things and modalities, music therapy, art therapy. These therapies focus on function, participation, and meaning.
These fields have always prioritized the quality of life.
Oh,
Medicine is
I forgot. Um, I cannot. Nope, can't think of what it is. Not garden therapy. It is
forest therapy.
okay. Forest therapy, but there's also it's something with an H, and my mind is going blank. If you know it, scream it really loud, out loud, right now, no matter where you are.
Well, this doesn't begin with age, but we forgot aquatherapy.
Okay,
All right. Well,
so
those fields have always they've always prioritized quality of life, and
That
medicine
is
is
true.
finally catching up to what rehab professionals have known all along, that health is about how you live, not just how you survive.
horticultural therapy.
Oh, horticultural. Thank you,
Oh,
Jean.
that's the one that begins with H.
Right. Now, in the next part of this conversation, we're going to talk about the emotional side of quality of life, end of life care, and how redefining outcomes changes how we approach medicine itself.
Right, because survival is only the beginning and mental health care is an integral part of your overall well-being.
And that's where the quality of life truly becomes human.
One thing medicine doesn't always account for is the emotional cost of surviving an illness.
You can survive something medically and still grieve the life you had before.
Absolutely. And
Hmm.
people grieve lost function, lost identity, lost independence. Even when the outcome is labeled a success, this grief goes unrecognized because technically the
Hmm.
patient lived. But emotionally, they're trying to rebuild who they are.
And it also can, people can grieve and feel guilt over their inability, or their, I guess not their inability, but their need for assistance from others, and that they might be affecting the quality of life of others. So that's something also that healthcare providers and mental health clinicians help with, because it can be a challenge if you went from being independent to now requiring some assistance, or benefiting from assistance. That can be a very difficult paradigm shift. Quality of life is deeply tied to one's individual identity.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Somebody's work, their hobbies, their roles in their life with other family members, their relationships. These illnesses or traumas can take away those
Parts of your life.
exactly,
Yeah,
or even if it doesn't take them away, they can radically change them because now is different than what it was,
right.
and it does take time to
To learn how to work with the
well
changes.
and get used to the new reality.
Hmm. When medicine focuses only on survival, it can overlook the question, who is this person
Hmm.
now and how do we help them live meaningfully in this new reality? This is where purpose matters just as much as prognosis.
And mental health is, we've mentioned, it's inseparable from quality of life. It's definitely a keystone for quality of life.
Absolutely. Think about depression or anxiety or PTSD. Adjustment disorders, they are common. They're very common after serious illnesses, but often they go untreated.
Right. If we ignore mental health, we haven't actually improved any outcomes. Someone can be physically stable and emotionally
Hmm.
devastated, and that is not success.
And as I kind of alluded to a minute ago, we also have to talk about caregivers.
Right, right. The caregiver's quality of life is often sacrificed in the name of patient survival. Um, Easily put, you put your life on hold or you radically change your life to assist somebody in need.
Yeah, and families experience burnout or financial strain, emotional exhaustion, and role changes because of it. When medicine ignores caregivers, it destabilizes the entire ecosystem. Quality of life must include everyone involved, not just the patient.
Right.
And there are definitely programs out there available to assist caregivers in many ways, including providing them with the medical care that they providing respite care, and
Hmm.
providing, assistance with billing and things of that nature. So if you feel like you're struggling, you're not alone, and reach out and talk to the healthcare provider, talk to the office staff, talk to your local hospital and community leaders, and find out what's available to assist you.
We'll put links on our website on
For some,
yeah,
yeah.
what we know that's available, and please reach out if you know of any that we could add. Um,
Well, I mean, hospice, what you were talking about just a second ago, Gene, hospice
Mhm.
and palliative care focus specifically on comfort, dignity, and meaning, not just what I mentioned earlier about existing,
Mhm.
not prolonging life, but giving meaning to it.
And choosing comfort is not giving up. It's choosing a different definition of success. It's saying how I live matters as much as how long I live.
Mhm.
And I think an example of this would be my step grandmother, who had dementia and some other serious health issues, and she received hospice care. And
Yes,
we would provide her with meals that she truly enjoyed, and even watching her favorite movies. We got a big screen TV and a whole bunch of movies that she absolutely adored, and we played them repeatedly.
So, like Jean was saying, so the idea is for mental health to improve or get better with chronic illness, it's going to take a little bit more effort from the caregivers, and the caregivers themselves can feel burned out from that, so they need the support. So it's a complete congruence of the patient, the doctor, and the healthcare providers at home in order to make a quality of life in effect. Quality of life conversations often happen when options are already limited, and they should happen earlier alongside treatment, not instead of it.
Yep.
Talking about values early doesn't shorten a life, it improves it.
That's exactly right. And technology can support the quality of life or can actually undermine it as well.
Remote monitoring can increase independence, but it can also make people feel constantly surveyed. So I guess you could do it. Well, no, you can't. Okay. But if it's for safety, hopefully they understand.
Right. Well, and then you also, ask them as well. And I had that too when my mother was
Mhm.
ill. Um, I was a little surprised that she allowed me to, but I put up cameras at her home, and then when she moved in with me at my home, not to spy on her, but just to make sure that she was safe. Because she was a very independent person her whole life, I figured she would balk at it or scream at me. And when I told her what it was for, she was absolutely for it. So in that case, it worked out well. But yeah, it can feel like you're under 24-hour surveillance.
Mhm. Well, technology should support living, not turn life into a clinical experiment.
Exactly.
And I'm sure that you did that in an appropriate manner. My mother-in-law, before she passed, and before we got her moving into our home, we actually had a camera on her back door because there was one time she walked out that back door and ended up 3 miles away. The police brought her home. So we needed to know when she was wandering before her diagnosis for
Right.
Alzheimer's really came into effect. Despite progress, systems still struggle with the shift. Our healthcare system still rewards procedures more than conversations. And until quality of life is fully valued, not just discussed, this transition remains incomplete.
So what should success look like?
It should probably look a little bit like function, comfort, connection, autonomy, and alignment between treatment plans and what matters most to the person living the life. Medicine succeeds when people can say, I was heard, I was respected, and I lived the best life I could.
Gotcha. And this shift isn't a trend, it's actually a necessity.
As populations age and chronic illness become more common, survival is not a sufficient goal. Medicine must evolve, or it risks becoming technologically or technically impressive, but humanly empty. Quality of life, it's not a soft science, it's just essential care.
Survival keeps us alive, but the quality of life actually makes life worth living.
Oh, I like that. We should put
Yeah.
that on a T-shirt.
I like that too.
I do.
So,
Go ahead.
redefining outcomes is about honoring the full human experience, not just the biology. Okay.
Well, medicine is in
Right.
transition, like we've been saying, and because patience demanded more than survival, and that demand is not unreasonable. It's profoundly human.
Well, thank you for joining us for this episode in our Medicine in Transition series. Next time, we'll shift our focus to dementia care and why the field is moving from control to connection.
And we'll see you next time on Podcast DX. As always, we'll link resources from today's show on our website. This podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regime. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you've heard on this podcast.
Till next week.